All right, welcome back to the Elias Macco Show. It's 10:22. There's been a lot of talk about level 5 French in the last couple of weeks. Of course, the Quebec government mandating to the Anglo universities, McGill and Concordia, hey, your students, right, 80% of them have to reach a level 5 in French. And by the way, they're making that requirement. They're making some funding contingent on that requirement. It's gotten us thinking, right? Just what exactly is level 5 French? How attainable is it for someone who comes to Quebec, who's doing their undergraduate degree and is busy enough as it is, right? With school and oftentimes with work. Let's now go to Taylor Ireland, President and General Manager of ACA Language Studies, Language Training. Taylor, welcome to the program.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me.
So,
happy to be here.
It's great to talk to you, Taylor. Bienvenue à l'émission. And let me ask you something. If we did this interview in French, would we qualify for level 5?
I don't know, but I can't speak for yourself, but I know I would qualify for level 5. Yes. I've been lucky enough to be in Quebec since 2005 and live in Quebec City.
So what do you think here, Taylor, of the government's requirement? How attainable is it?
So at level 5 French, if you think about, I guess, what is a level 5, first of all? So the Quebec government has kind of 12 levels for their proficiencies in French. So you have kind of 4 beginning, 4 at the intermediate level, and 4 at advanced. So level 5 is just at the start of intermediate. So based on the government's recommendation to kind of reach a level 5 over the span of, say, 4 years, if we assume someone takes 4 years of undergrad, it is an attainable level. Level 5 is not advanced. It's not out of 5, it's out of 12. So you're just at the start of an intermediate level.
And how much effort, work would be required to reach level 5? Can it be attained by just spending 4 years and every day you go to a dépanneur? Can you get there? What do you need to do to get there?
Unfortunately, that won't be enough. And it's going to always depend on where the person starts. So if they're starting at kind of like, your typical yes-no toaster, it's going to require several hundred hours of training. So you might be looking at, say, full-time classes for approximately 4 to 5 to 6 months.
Wow.
Or a more kind of slow burn where you're doing, say, 3 hours of class a week over the course of multiple years. So it is still something that's going to require some effort because speaking is a physical activity. And these are classes it's not like a first-year, psychology class where you have 300 people in the auditorium. You're going to have to be in small groups to have the opportunity to have that production time, so to really have that opportunity to speak. So it's still going to take some time. It's not something you're just going to pick up by being in Montreal or being in the province of Quebec. It's going to require some effort on the part of the learners and on the part of the university.
Yeah, that's right. It's easier said than done. Let me ask you about assessment here. So give us some examples of things that someone who has attained level 5 French can do in conversation, or a level 5 French. What are some of the ways that it would be assessed?
So you'd be kind of, usually going to look at kind of the overall approach, like how well do they speak? You're not going to pick every single mistake, and you're going to allow some mistakes to be made because you're not ready for that level. Mm-hmm. But someone at a level 5 is going to be able to kind of give you a pretty good description of, things that they like to do, maybe where they're from, do they have brothers and sisters, what did they do yesterday, what are they doing today, what will they do tomorrow. But you're not going to move into, conversations around that we're having right now. You're not going to have kind of those more Q&As on more complex topics. So you're going to stick very kind of close to home, very personal conversations, much more kind of Q&A. And that's, they would be more comfortable in a one-on-one situation than, say, a group situation. So if they were just sitting across the, dinner table from one person, that would be an okay environment for them for, say, a quick lunch. But today, say, do a 4-hour kind of soirée in French with multiple people, that would be a much more arduous time for them.
We're with Taylor Ireland, President and General Manager of ACA Language Training. Taylor, do you think the government has set the bar too high?
I think that when you look at it on a micro level, so like for one individual learner to get to level 5 over 4 years, you say, yeah, no problem. That's a very reachable goal. To do this with thousands of learners, so I think it's around 1,500 learners are entering McGill from the rest of Canada every single year. If you're just even focusing on those learners, eventually you're going to reach, we have 6,000 people in class. We currently have around 2,000 people in class every week. Logistically, it's a big undertaking to manage that many people, that many learners. So on a micro level, yeah, for one learner to do that. On a more macro level, for the university to do that, they're going to have some work. They're going to need some resources. They're going to have to dedicate some time and energy to that. And the learners themselves are also going to be having to add some extra time. So maybe they have to extend their language, their university stay by another semester in order to reach those objectives, or they're going to have to spend more time in French. So micro level, no problem. Macro level, that's where the challenges really come into play.
Let's talk about employment here, because I guess the government is thinking about trying to get people to stay here and embrace French, and then try and make a life here. If you reach level 5 French, what kind of jobs can you work at a level 5 of French?
Level 5 in French would, again, depend on kind of what the tasks are, but you could probably work in any retail environment. Mm-hmm. You could even work in some office environments. One thing that a level 5 French would help you do is if you reach that level, once you start working in French, you're going to start picking it up a lot faster. So you're going to have that opportunity to kind of actually experience an immersive experience. Whereas if you start at level 0, you won't really get the time of day, mm-hmm. Especially, say, in a city like Montreal. That's one of the challenges in sometimes Montreal, is that even general population doesn't have maybe sometimes the patience to help learners speak in French. They switch to English very quickly. So mm-hmm. level 5, a lot of kind of entry-level jobs, anything that's physical, anything in a plant, any of those things, those will be possible. Say to do like any sort of, customer service, I say on phone or online, that's probably where they would start to really reach some challenges if it was beyond just simple directions, and very much like following a flow chart. Then they would have some challenges at a level 5.
And let me ask you, if someone is coming from, British Columbia or Ontario, and they took French in high school, whether let's say they were in French immersion, or they took a couple of courses in French while they're in high school, and then they come to Quebec. What kind of level are they at if you've done some high school education in French?
So someone who maybe did only French immersion, they probably are going to come in. They probably will exceed that level 5. Mm-hmm. That level 5. If they've come in and they've only taken French through high school, their comprehension level and their ability to read and write might be higher than a level 5. What they'll sometimes find the challenge is like, people won't necessarily say like, would you like to have a cup of coffee? They might be like, un café. And that'll be kind of a little bit of an adjustment to kind of get to used to how people actually speak, versus what they find in their books. So if they've taken enough classes in French through their high school, they might come in at a level 2, level 3. But they'll be in a much better position than coming in, say, myself when I moved to Quebec at essentially level 0, from Saskatchewan.
So you were able to do it, and now you're at ACA language training. So is that what are you seeing now at ACA? Are you seeing lots of people who are trying to come to Quebec and learn the language on the fly?
Yeah, we're seeing an increase in French really across Canada, though, as well. And with Quebec organizations offering kind of as part of the diversity, equity and inclusion practices, offering more language training across Canada. They're actually surprised by the level of interest and actual level of French in the rest of Canada. Obviously, companies are taking it a little bit more seriously. So rather than maybe taking English classes because the one Anglophone comes, in the meeting of 10 Francophones, they're actually starting to offer French training to the Anglophones or Allophones in the rest of Canada. So, and then obviously you have immigration as well playing a role in that as well, with a little bit more interest in French and people wanting to kind of increase their levels of French as well.
Taylor, we got to leave it there. I want to thank you so much for coming on this morning.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too. That's Taylor Ireland, President and General Manager of ACA Language Training.